Between Two Biomes, Season 2, Episode 1 starts right now. Changes!
Oh, big surprise. Guess what? Season 2 starts now.
Do we need Steve to find new intro music for a new season?
Steve just found intro music. He's going to be mad at us if we decide. Although we might need to, well, we're going to have to talk about some things here because
we will.
Some changes coming, right?
We
We'll get into that.
we didn't time the new intro music we did a few weeks ago with the new season that we're in now. So we have to get our better calendar skills going.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. But yeah, so hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm toasty because I had bocce tonight, and it was so on Fridays they do double headers, and we had the double header tonight, which means lots of beer, lots of bocce, and then we went in for drinks afterwards, and here I am with a bourbon, and so
I love recording after you have bocce. It's always the best. Who knows where this episode's gonna go?
Oh boy, yeah, it's not necessarily a good thing. It's not a good thing. And tomorrow might be a rough day for me. So it is 11:47 p.m. where I am at, and I don't have a terribly early golf day tomorrow, but we're going to be traveling. Well, I tell you what, maybe we save this for the golf story.
We'll say that. Yeah, we'll talk to the golf side. Yeah.
So
good.
I mean, tradition says that we should talk about what we're drinking.
Right, but for those that have not caught on in the first 18 seconds of this, we have ended season 1 as of July 30th. June 30th.
Yep.
And we're starting season 2 as of July 1st. So welcome everybody to season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what's behind the bar?
What's behind the bar? I'll start.
You start.
Because you have, I think, a much better behind the bar today than I. Mine's a little boring. I'm just drinking something I already had, which is my Southern Tier bourbon, straight bourbon that I got down towards Philly at the Southern Tier Distilling Company. So I'm on my second glass at this point. So.
I started a while ago as well, so I'm pounding my bottle down.
Yeah, I've switched from beer to bourbon at this point, so yeah, that's not good.
It is Friday night, so I love when we record on Friday nights. I can have bourbon. I didn't have a very busy day, and I have nothing to do tomorrow, so I can drink tonight. So that's a good thing. My daughter has friends over, and so she's entertained and all that good stuff. So yeah, this is good.
Good.
I'm not sure why my 7-year-old is still awake at 9:49 my time, and I'm going to get yelled at for not putting her to bed. But yeah, she's upstairs watching TV.
Okay. I was like, it sounds like Dad's home and the kids are just going crazy.
I think she kind of said I'm going to go watch TV. You take care of the kids, and I'm like, yeah, I'm recording Biomes, so whatever. I'll get them to bed at some point tonight. I have a much better bourbon story to tell. Okay,
so are we going to tell it now, or are you going to tell it during because I think we pre-show you had some other stuff which you were kind of hiding some of the details from.
No, I've got some slides in there that we'll go through. I think it's part of the bind. I put it right after the what we're drinking because it's part of what I'm drinking. Okay. It's all part one or the other.
Because you have to tell me when you advance the slides here, because this is one of those situations where I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're good. No, there's nothing bad. Nothing is gonna jump out at you. But there's one thing that we'll say. So, let me see. Where's the stream? Where'd it go?
Need to do though? I think before we get in, should we wait because we've got our bourbon fund.
We do. You're right. Do the bourbon fund. Yep.
Yeah. So Mashie and Master's bourbon fund tracker. And
did you pull the right report this time?
I did, and it's funny because we did the whole like thing before, and my screen is not staying up for some reason. I don't know why. My video screen. I'll have to figure that out every time I click away. We're up to $53.94.
90. We're almost there.
Yeah,
well, we're a little over halfway there.
We're a little bit past halfway at this point, right? So yeah, we're making progress slowly but surely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's talk liquor because I'm excited to do this. So you guys know, and I've talked about this a lot. I think in our earlier episodes, my ultimate favorite bourbon of all time is a brand called Laws, Laws. It's out of Denver here.
Yeah.
And it is some of the best bourbon bottom line, some of the best bourbon. It's just so good. And we went over 4th of July weekend to the Laws Distillery for a tour. And now, before we go in, I'm going to show a few slides here. It's a very, very small distillery, okay? Matter of fact, the tasting room, it looks like, no offense, Laws guys, and I'll explain that in a second, it looks like an afterthought. They bought this building as a distillery, and I think at some point they're like, hey, people may want to come by, so let's take this closet and let's stick a bar in it, and let's, like, it literally has 2 tables and stuff. And so what I loved about that, it wasn't some big giant polished production. They're all about making bourbon, and they are not about the show. Now they're building a new building next door that will have a new tasting room and stuff, but so this is great. They had 3 employees on site: the master distiller, the person who gave us, maybe 4, the master distiller, he had a helper, and then the woman who gave us the tour, I don't remember her name, and then another woman behind the bar.
Have you ever been to any other distilleries and taken tours?
I've been to one other that's a very large distillery, and they do everything from gin and vodka and you name it, and they do whiskey and they do bourbon. It was ginormous, and it was what I expected this would be, which this wasn't. And I'll show you in a second. That one was like the ropes were up and don't get too close and that kind of stuff. This one, we were in with the tanks. Like
So there's a possibility you could have fallen into a tank and had to drink your way out.
Let me put it to you this way, and I didn't put the picture in here to show you guys. I was literally looking in the still over through the glass window, and the distiller was like, yeah, just don't touch it. It's about 248 degrees. I was like, okay, I won't touch it. So like that's how laid back and how close.
Been boiled.
Yes, exactly. Well, I got a few things to share because I thought it was great.
Okay.
And then I walked away with a few purchases, and we won't burn the whole show on this, but I do want to show a few things that I thought were cool. So go ahead to the next slide. Laws Whiskey House. I love this little sign they had up there about there's no shortcuts. The one thing I learned about these guys, most distilleries that do whiskey and bourbon start doing gin and vodka because they're cheaper to make and they can make profits off of that, and then they use those profits to go make whiskey and bourbon.
They don't have to like age those, right?
Correct. Bourbon, you've got to age for a minimum of 2 years, and so you've got years of investment without any profit.
Yeah.
These guys did not. They started just doing bourbon. That's all they did.
Interesting is that's kind of like my golf game. I'm 3 years into my golf, and I still haven't had a really good return on my investment.
We're still waiting for a good round.
Yes.
And the investment to Shanky and all the tools are still going.
Yeah, I've invested a lot of money and I'm not seeing my return yet. So
exactly. So you're just like this. Exactly.
I'm just like bourbon.
Exactly.
Maybe that's why I like it so much.
And the cool thing about this tour was they delivered their first batch of bourbon. Now they believe 2 years is not enough. They age it for 3 years, a minimum of 3 years. Their first batch that came out that they bottled was July 4th weekend of 2011. Okay, so this was their anniversary weekend. So their pours were very healthy, which was nice. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Okay, typical 4-grain. I thought it was really cool, showing the corn and the wheat and the rye and the barley, and all their ingredients come from Colorado. Their Colorado distillery, and everything comes from different parts of the state. and it was really interesting. They get different flavors out of the different grains based on. So, for example, the barley and rye, the field next to where they plant that is a different farm. That farm has serrano peppers. So because of that, the barley and rye has a little bit of a peppery flavor that you wouldn't get if you didn't. So I thought that was really cool to learn about how different environmental factors can change the taste.
Yeah, that type of thing goes across. Like, I live in Hershey, Pennsylvania, so I've taken the Hershey chocolate tour a million times. Their hardest thing is they want to deliver the same chocolate, but they have to make sure that the nibs they get in, the cocoa nibs, are consistent. They're always blending them and figuring out, and have these people that taste these nibs all the time. So it's crazy how this stuff works.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how it works and the science behind it. So, all right, next slide. All right, so this was the process. I'm not going to go through all of this, but I wanted to show this because a couple of the next slides show these things. So basically, they take all their grains and they go through the hammer mill. It goes into a 1,000-gallon cooker. They cook it for I don't know how long.
This is how they make the everlasting gobstopper.
It pretty much is, and I'll show you why in a second. This is also the pathway of your golf game.
Oh, yes, that's
it's just how we go through. You know, somewhere in here is a
I see a lot of like grass over here and like buildings, and yeah, you got that right.
And we played earlier today. So this is the 1,000-pound this is the 1,000-gallon cooker. They put them all in. I thought it was kind of cool that everything cooks out there. And then go to the next slide. Then it goes into a 500-gallon still. Now, what I thought was really interesting about this, and you see how close we are. We're up on the scaffolding just right next to the still. I was looking in that window there. If you remember a few episodes ago, we were talking the difference between a columnar still versus a pot still. And this is a hybrid. It's a pot still with a columnar top. So they do get the same benefits of a pot still, but they get a continuous batch of a columnar still. So anyway, it goes from here, they add yeast, they have open air containers and blah blah blah, and then it goes.
What's interesting about that piece of equipment is that they also use that to go down and take tours of the Titanic.
They do. Actually, this is you can't say that. I was gonna say this is what they used in the ocean submarine that.
Well, those are the portholes that you look at.
Yeah, those are the portholes. Yep. And then it goes into the next picture. Is the 500-gallon still, okay? And then this boils down from here to 250-gallon, okay? And then when it goes from there, then it goes into the barrels.
All I have to say is, I think at this point, you know so much. I think you're going to open up your own distillery.
I'm ready to quit my job and go open up a distillery. Now, here's what I loved about these guys. Go to the next picture. That's out of that still. We literally went up. He pulled a hose out and he poured 128 proof. Right out of that still, ready to go into barrels. Hasn't aged, obviously.
So they put it. Did it melt right through the plastic?
Oh my God! It was like drinking fire water.
I bet.
It was brutal. It was interesting. It actually had a lot of flavor to it, and it also I think I could have powered my car on the way home.
So this is like basically bourbon before any type of aging.
Before any aging, before any cutting it with some water, things like that. Yeah. This is like right out of that still, getting ready to go into a barrel.
So what do they call that at this point?
White, it's like the white tails or the white, it's on that board up there. If you go back to the board slide, it is, go right there. It's the 225 gallon of high wine. It's a high wine.
High wine. Okay.
Yep. See how it says 225.
Just breathe it in and it makes you high.
I guess I don't know. So anyway, it was a really cool experience, and then that led me to I walked away with a couple of different things. Then I got one slide for you, which is going to be a test. Okay, so I am drinking tonight, and this was a hard one to find. They had it at the distillery. This is a 4-grain bottled in bond laws, obviously, that was actually aged in Calvados casks. So Calvados, Calvados. Calvados.
Oaks, a certain type of oak.
No, Calvados is an apple brandy. It's a French apple brandy that they get the barrels.
Mashy, I just have to say, first of all, your golf game is beyond mine, and now your bourbon game is getting there too. So I'm just saying.
Oh no! I'm gonna take it up one more because I also walked away with lists.
This is a fancy box.
Oh yeah, and inside the fancy box.
Did you keep your weed in there?
No, better. This is a bottle out of the very first barrel that they released.
No.
In 2011.
No.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes. So when you come to town to go play golf,
now you've
then I'm going to open
this.
this.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
Wow.
So this has been aged since 2011 in the barrel, and they just bottled that one up.
All
so
right.
that's what I've got. Anyway.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. There's our bourbon lesson for today. All right.
You stepped it
Next
up.
slide. Okay, next slide. Oh no, where'd that go? Delete that. Whatever. Just drag that piece and move it away or something. I don't know why that's there.
I gotta get like this and okay. So.
Okay, well there it is. Hit play. There you go. All right, here's your quiz. You already saw the answers, but here's your quiz.
No, I actually
the ABCs for bourbon.
Really pay attention. Okay.
Okay. Do you know what the AB? Don't hit go yet. Just do you know what the ABCs of bourbon is? This is your test.
Does A stand for like A or like these are just like...
A? Nope. They had the A stands for something that's A. The B stands for something that's B, and the C stands for something that's
A stands for alcohol.
No.
Oh jeez. Okay.
This is a requirement for it to make it a bourbon.
A is to make it a bourbon, it has to be A. Aged?
Nope.
Oh, come on. A, it's not alcohol, it's not aged, it's one of the ingredients maybe? I don't know. What am I missing?
Hit go. Has to be made in America.
Oh, so that's kind of like the champagne like thing too.
Now I could be. And by the way, thinking about this,
I thought bourbon had to be made in like Kentucky or something for a while. Too.
No, bourbon does not. That's a myth. Bourbon does not have to be made in Kentucky. Okay, but there are certain requirements to make it a bourbon. Now I will say on this one, we had a long debate because she also said it has to be made in America and it has to be, as you said, aged a minimum of 2 years. So the A, we went back and forth.
Right.
I would say you're half right on that one. Yes. Okay. All right. So the B.
Well, it's got to be bourbon.
Nope. To make it a bourbon, it has to be. Soupy
bottle.
knows this one. Soupy is watching this going, I know what this is. I got this one.
It has to be brew.
It go. Stored at least 2 years in charred white oak barrels.
Oh, okay.
The B is barrels. If you don't age it in a specific type of charred barrels, the white oak charred barrels, it's not technically a bourbon. Okay, and then C. You should get this one easy. C.
Because it's charred oak?
Nope. You already used that one in the last one.
Man, these are hard.
Think about the grains.
Okay, so there was corn.
How much corn?
It has to be at least 50% corn.
Close. 51%. So
we're
those are
talking
the
semantics now. I said at least. Oh, geez.
At least 51%
so
corn.
So at least 51 is then 52.
Yeah, 51,
well,
52.
No, I guess at least includes 51.
At least includes 51. Correct. So
more than 50.
More than 50. 51, they say. 51 or more. Yeah, it has to be 51% corn or more.
Okay.
So those are the requirements for bourbon. You failed.
Yeah, I totally failed that. Yeah. Well, we're doing this again in the future, except we're doing with beer.
Okay, I like it. So that's it. I'm done. I'm done with my bourbon stuff.
Okay.
That was it for today.
Well, I snuck a slide in here too.
Oh no.
Yes, because I did my own bourbon tour at the famous Willy Wonka chocolate factory, and this was
dictionary giant.
It looks just like what they were using. I think when they made that movie, they were drinking brewing cast, and they took a pot still. And they
just added some sound effects to it. Right?
Yep. Agreed. And smoke something.
Steve's gonna have to find some Willy Wonka sound effects to throw in here.
Ooh, not copyrighted though. Let's do the non-copyrighted Willy Wonka effects.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so a golf story.
Yeah. You got anything?
So the only thing I really have, so I golfed Tuesday,
Yeah.
but at the Hershey Country Club, which I'm building. And
Oh,
and and up until Tuesday, I had only played the West course.
do they know
Um,
you're building it? Did you
uh,
walk in, talk to the pro, and be like, "Dude, I'm building your course"?
so no, but the guy that takes me there is heavily involved with Hershey Entertainment, which also manages that. He's a pretty high up executive there, and he just kind of like is looking forward to this, and he kind of like knows the bottom line is he doesn't think it's going to be any copyright issues or trademarks or any of that type of thing. Um, so he took me there. I got to finally play the East course, the other side, and boy, I tell you, it was eye opening. I didn't realize how much terrain there was, and I took some pictures. So it got me bottom line motivated to I really want to start like digging into that course a lot more. So yeah, so that's my golf story of the week. That's it.
Nice. We got some golf stories. One in particular I'll share is my daughter played in her junior golf tournament for 14 to 18, I think it was the age range. And she this is her first one. She took off June. She had state finals at the end of May. Basically took off June, just take a little break after the season was over. Went back for her first tournament, walked away with a win.
Oh,
So
like
nothing.
win like first place?
First place. She walked away with first place. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. She got a plaque and a medal. I was gonna put a picture, but then I decided I probably should have put a picture of my underage daughter up on the beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so I didn't do that. But yeah, she walked away with first place, got a plaque and got her name in the newsletter,
That's
got
so
points
cool.
towards the yeah. So
Yeah, proud
she
papa.
pulled her own version of uh Rose Zhang. First tournament, one tournament, one win. Except much smaller tournament.
Yeah. Hey, you got to start somewhere, right?
Got to start somewhere. So anyway, great golf story to see. She was thrilled. She turned her card in. I was like, "Well, how do you think you did?" She's like, "I did okay." And then we watched the leaderboard go up, and I was like, "I think you're winning." And she was like, "We'll see." And then sure enough, she won. So
That's
it's
so
kind of
cool.
cool.
Yes,
Yeah,
very cool. I love it.
yeah.
All right. So let's move on to what we're doing around season two.
Season 2.
Yeah. So we decided that, well, season two starts July.
Yep,
And I think what we're doing is we're taking our experiences over the last 6 months,
yep,
things we've learned, and we're going to make some changes to the show.
yep.
So, what are those changes? First of all, we are going to restrict our reviews, and we're doing this for a couple reasons. First of all, unless the designers specifically tell us they want to go through the gauntlet, we are no longer going to review courses.
Each and every course the way we were doing
Yeah,
it.
and,
Right.
and sometimes we would leave a few courses out, but we did our best to kind of cover and give what we thought was constructive criticism to the builders. Um, but we're gonna back off from that for a few reasons. One is I was finding out I'm spending 8 to 10 hours a week on this show.
Or
Um,
more.
yes, between the hours spent trying to review the courses, the show, and then editing takes,
Yep,
Steve is like beating me down saying, there's a ton of time with editing. So,
yep.
and then the second thing is between the time is we do never want the whole purpose of this show was to help the community get better and help better courses. But we don't want to discourage people from releasing courses either. And I think one comment on Discord really hit home was when someone said, "Oh, thank God I submitted my course and I thought you guys were going to tear it apart." And I'm like, I don't want people to think that.
No, our goal was never, ever, ever to tear any courses apart. We
Yeah.
don't want to. We never wanted to. Matter of fact, I don't know if we did. It wasn't by design. It was accidental if we did that. But I feel like, and I'm putting ice. So I actually have ice, so I don't have to go up and get more ice. I have ice next to my bourbon, so I can re-pour and have more.
Not only are you like good with bourbon, but you're getting smart now too.
I brought it all once. But like our the entire goal of the show was look through some courses, find if we find things, not look for things, but if we find things, point them out as suggestions. I actually don't even like the word critique because we're not even really critiquing it. They're more, have you thought about this? And use those and give ways that they could be adjusted, really, so that other designers and newer designers could see it and be like, oh, I've got the same issue, or I have the same result. That means this is a great way of kind of fixing it. I do feel like sometimes that was interpreted as us picking apart courses, and it was never our intention to do that. And I agree with you 100%. We don't want any designer to hesitate submitting anything into SGT because they're afraid of what we might say or think of it. Because I don't care what people do with their courses. I respect whatever the designer does, and if they choose to leave it or change it, it's completely up to them.
Yep. Yeah, especially I see the amount of people that go through my tutorial videos, and it's hard for me to comprehend on how I still see my videos are still getting hundreds of views right now, those tutorials.
Yep.
So it makes me wonder how many people are creating courses and at the end of the day are just keeping them to themselves. I don't know.
Yep.
And
I don't know.
And I never want, maybe people just want to keep them to themselves, and this show doesn't change that. But if there's any reason that someone would say, hey, I'm not putting a course in the SGT because I don't want the B2 guys to see it, then that to me is enough that, hey, that's fine. Submit your course. We're just going to decide at this point, hey, if you contact us and you say, hey, I want to put it through the gauntlet, then we will thoroughly review it and give you feedback on it. So that's where we're at.
Yep.
So number 2 here, what we're changing is all the weekly submissions. Okay, we're still going to do an MPAL, but we're only going to talk about those, and they're not even going to be really criticisms as much as they're going to be like, hey, here's our list
why
of
we like them.
Yeah, here's the courses that we like this week. Here they are, and then we'll post them to the website. So really simple.
This, by the way, has a not purely, but partly purely selfish side effect that I love about this. Okay, means we get to go play more courses in the sim.
Yes.
Like I do feel like we spend a lot of time in season 1, mousing through 25 courses, 12 courses, 8 courses, 10 courses, taking screenshots, and I don't really get to enjoy all the courses,
notes.
right? Taking notes.
I can't tell you how many times
I'm
I'm going down to my sim, I hit a ball, and then I'm taking a screenshot. I go over here, I look around, I take a screenshot, and it just takes me forever to play. I'm just happy. Yep. I'm ready to just start playing some golf.
So today was a great example. Masta and I went down and played anywhere from 5 to 9 holes on 4 different courses today in the sim to see which ones we like best and why. Now that like best included how do they look. It wasn't just, so we were still keeping a designer eye on everything, but not necessarily looking in to say, oh, this one blend is off, because I don't know if you can really see that the blend is off in the sim.
Yeah. Yep. And then if you do submit your course to the gauntlet, we are getting rid of the aces and eagles and birdies. And essentially, if you submit to the gauntlet and we say, we like this course, we're just going to give you basically a gauntlet badge. So no more aces, eagles, or birdies. Now, for the courses that do have aces, eagles, and birdies, that page on the website is still going to be maintained. So it'll be like what we call season 1. But we did just I just created a season 2 page. So all the gauntlet, if you decide to submit to the gauntlet, will be listed in there, and then all the MPALs will also be listed in there.
Yeah, and I think this has a nice advantage because I feel like everybody wants an ace. You only give a couple of aces, and I feel like I want more courses going through the gauntlet because they want to be gauntlet rated versus I don't want to put it through because it may not be an ace. I only want aces.
Yeah. So I think the problem there was you and I realize how hard it is to get an ace. Most of the designers realize how hard it is to get an ace, but the average person playing GS Pro doesn't realize how hard it is to get an ace.
Right.
And hence the designers want to make sure that whatever course they're putting through, I only want to have it go through the gauntlet if I get an ace. So,
Yep.
So we're just going to say, hey, I went through the gauntlet, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. And if you know what, if we see some issues with it, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
And then we'll let you know offline. If it goes through the gauntlet and it doesn't make it, we're not going to talk about it here. We'll get out to you separately offline and be like, hey, it didn't pass the gauntlet test. Here's why. Here's a couple things to look at, and then let you go back and redo it and resubmit it. There's no we're trying to streamline it a little bit and make it we really don't want. I felt like, in all honesty, there were times where we had, when you have 12 or 13 or 14 courses, there's probably 8 good ones. We're only giving 1 or 2 MPOWs per, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's some good courses getting through that maybe we're not spending enough time talking about. So I want to make sure we can encourage really good courses. A lot of them. There's a lot of great courses coming out.
Yep. And then the last change is, well, I actually already alluded to this. The website Hall of Fame will be updated for season 2. So essentially, we're hitting the reset button here. The season 1 isn't going away. It'll still be on there, but now when you go to the website and you're watching this video, if you go there, it'll say season 1 Hall of Fame, season 2 Hall of Fame. And I don't know, we're even talking about doing something with, like, even before we start a show, kind of going back and maybe creating a list of what we think are the best courses prior to when the show started.
Right. Like the legacy courses or something.
Yeah. We'll talk about more, but we're considering that at this point. We'll see what happens.
But like, listen, we made these changes. We're gonna see how it runs. Love your feedback. Post them in the comments.
And then maybe it'll change for season 3.
Maybe it'll change for season 3. We'll see. But there. In all fairness, though, I don't think those that have been on the show know this. Rusty, Dave, and I were chatting a little bit on Discord a little bit, but Ty and I spend at least an hour pre-show going through all the slides. That doesn't include all the time to take to build the slides before that. We got to look at every, take the screenshots, do all that. And then when we have a guest, we'll actually have a longer pre-show because then we walk through everything with the guest as well. And then we record. So when you see an hour or 45 or an hour and 20-minute recording, there's about 3 hours behind that.
Yeah.
And there's more than that behind that 3 hours.
And then there's an hour and a half show takes about 3 hours in editing.
Yeah. And we were talking, I think you agree with me. I hope as the summer comes to an end and the winter kicks in and all these designers are building, you're going to see 10, 12, 14, 18 courses a week. That's just a lot. It's a lot for us to look at every single course like we were.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So getting into
let's talk courses.
Let's talk courses. So we're at least going to talk about, hey, what courses came out this week?
Yes.
So people get an idea, if you're watching this show, what we had in store here. So there were 5 courses this week. So we had Tiara Rado Golf Course in Grand Junction, Colorado. Man, if we only had somebody on the show that knew a little bit about Colorado.
If only somebody knew about Colorado golf.
Yeah, right. Denison Golf Club in Ohio by Mr. Tech Bud. Yep. Moline Country Club, and by, everybody knows the architect.
He needs to change designer from John Mayer. He needs to put in quotes, John Mayer, the architect. I want to see, maybe Stinger or I can put like John Mayer, the architect, in the JSON.
Yeah. Now this is a kind of a funny release because it's not really a new release. It is a V4 upgrade to TPC Deer Run.
Right.
Hopefully we can say TPC Deer Run, but it is now Moline Country Club. I think he did that obviously to avoid any potential issue. Well, TPC, obviously we can't do TPC anymore.
Every time you say those 3 letters together, Steve needs to have like red board.
Yeah.
We haven't. Yeah. The PGA their attorneys heard you, and they are now sending you a cease and desist. You cannot say those 3 letters together.
Say it.
And even say them with any kind of any kind of proximity to GS Pro.
Oh my goodness, this freaking thing.
So we have to read. It's the CPT courses.
Yeah. Ah, jeez. Here we go.
Yeah, we need like like Danger Will Robinson music whenever you say that.
Yeah.
And bleep it out too.
And then another one by Tech Bud, which is White Marsh Valley Country Club, and this is in Pennsylvania. I didn't figure out where this was. It's in Pennsylvania. I live in Pennsylvania.
It's in Pennsylvania.
So it's got to be close, right?
Hold on, I'm gonna look up where you live and where this course is. It's probably like a mile away.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I have a feeling Lafayette. That sounds like it's Western Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And then Candyland from Candyland Fantasy by Unseen. So this was a low poly course, which this caused a little bit of controversy because we didn't see any low poly courses. You got somebody like Run Pud Run, you got Golf Boy who have done like some of these low polys, and they've kind of been shunned from being released in SGT, and all of a sudden we got one here. So I don't know what this
is. This let me ask her just a basic question. I'm sorry, is it technically a low poly course? Like I think the assets on it are not low poly. It's more of a
okay. So let me say
fantasy course.
That yes, I should technically say that I thought that fantasy courses were something that Cook and wasn't going to put in SGT, but here we are with one.
Well, but you have Whispering Pines is technically a fantasy course. Your course is a fantasy course.
I think there's a difference though between a course that is fantasy but designed to, let's face it, someone plays Glacier or they play Whispering Pines, and they're like, they ask the question, is this real?
Is it a real course? Yeah.
Versus Candyland, when you turn it on, you're like, this is definitely not real, right?
Yeah, but you know what I saw? I see what Unseen. I see what Unseen. No pun intended. I see what Unseen was going for, because the tie-in with the timing with the Barbie movie coming out and the colors and it is a perfect marriage. That guy is going to make a bazillion dollars. He's a marketing genius.
He has catapulted himself up to fame and fortune.
Yeah, agreed. Yes. So well done, Unseen. When you just remember us when you're big swingers. Remember the little people.
Yes. So let's talk about Candyland.
Let's start with Candyland. Well, I loved it, by the way.
And here we are. We're talking about we're not reviewing courses. I guess at the end of the day, you and I actually today we were playing. This is one of the courses that we threw up, and
not threw up. We didn't throw up on the course.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I got it. And we were having some fun with it. It's a short course, so we were just kind of playing. But then we were absolutely delighted and giddy when we got on some of these greens, like 7. Like on 1, we were like, oh, these are dead flat. Like, oh, I realized we did it, make it easier for the kids. But then, then he once in a while he threw in like number 7 here, which is just like crazy.
I wanted more holes with this. I loved this green. It was so. And tell you what, my ball. I landed on the green on this, and the ball. I don't know if GS Pro.
It was like shaking.
It doesn't know how to handle the movement on a green like this. It was so cool. I mean, my ball like hit and it moved like 17 different directions before it settled.
Yes.
Yours did too. Before it settled inside the circle. Yeah, it was cool.
And I remember at one point you were putting, and I was like, dude, I think you're just better off like taking your 60 and just kind of chipping it there as close as you can. You have no idea what's happening.
Nothing.
Yeah. And then as tonight in the pre-show, we're like, oh, let's see what the heat map looks like. And there it is.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So
I love it.
I
love it.
Yeah, it's great that these are finally going to be in game for people to play. I just, we talked about. Well, I'll save it for the feature request. I just remembered a feature request that we really need to add.
Oh, okay. Save it.
Yeah, remind me when we get to the feature request. The one that we forgot to add in pre-show, I have it.
I'm only 3 bourbons in. I won't forget.
Oh yeah. All right, so let's just jump in. So really no reviews. We're just going to get into our must plays.
Yeah, listen, there were some great courses this week. All of the courses were really good. Again, this is a relatively new format for us, even though we've had MPOWs in the past, but like kind of going this format, I I guess I'll get more comfortable with more courses being MPOWs as we go through this.
Yep.
But yeah, this is cool. So let's go.
So the first one is congratulations to Pac-Man for Tiara Rado. Now, isn't Tiara is that what the girls like? Is that a tiara? Is that what
there? I need to look it up. There's history behind the name, and I don't remember what it is. This is actually on the western side, is outside of Grand Junction on the west side of Colorado. And I've actually never played this course. I don't get over to that side of the state very often. But I've heard wonderful things about the course in real life from folks that have played it.
It's interesting, like the shot that he has here that he captured, it looks to me like very like Arizona. So it's like, is the western part of Colorado like starts to look more like the wind like carved rock in Arizona? Like,
well, you've got the leeward and the wayward side of the mountains, right? And so they're on, I think, the wayward. We're on the eastern side. We're on the leeward, so you got more of the sloping green. You get more rain over here. When you get on the wayward side of the mountains, yes, it's more deserty. Think about that. You're getting closer to Utah, and Nevada. So you're getting a lot more of the high desert out there. It's a lot more brown, a lot less green.
Yeah, because like looking at the shot, I would said, oh, this is a Utah course, right?
The mountains are much more windswept and much more plateaued than they are over here. Yep.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
For sure. And it's a short course, 6,400 from the backs. I played this with Pac-Man in the sim yesterday. We had a ton of fun. Sorry for taking you to school and beating you by 8 strokes, my friend, but it was a lot of fun.
See, Pac-Man, like the guy drinks the fancy bourbon now. He knows he quizzes people on his bourbon stuff and beats them in the sim. And okay.
I thought this course was so much fun. It looked great. The colors looked great. There's a V2 of this, by the way, coming out. Any and all little tweaks. There's a tree that needed a shader update because the leaves, needed to be the wind was off on a little bit. That's all been fixed and adjusted in an update he's just submitted today, I think. But like this is a shot off the first hole. It's a local course, a lot of houses around it. Just looked great.
This is pretty impressive. This is the first thing I noticed when I turned up this course was the background, right? The drop.
Yeah. And if you go back, don't go back, but when you were looking at that picture on the scorecard earlier, it looks just like it. That is terrain. It looks just like it. The satellite imagery is great. He planted trees. You can see the trees in there, kind of bushes, I should say, not trees, because there are no trees. It's all shrubs going all the way up the mountain like that. It was a very, very realistic look.
Now,
of
this
what
is
it
a
looks
V4 course, right?
Yes, I did double check. It's a V4 course.
Is this a mesh with satellite on it, or is it terrain?
That's a good question. I don't know. I didn't get that close to see.
I'm honestly not sure if you could tell the difference.
I don't know if you could tell the difference if it was a mesh. Does it matter if it was? Performance was great.
Performance-wise, it's probably best to have a mesh with a satellite image, right? I don't know.
But if your performance is already great, regardless, then sure, it could be even greater.
Well, let us know, Pac-Man. Let us know what you did. It's really interesting how Mashy and I so this is one course we did not play this together today because you played it with Pac-Man and then I looked at it separately. And then when I went in, I was finding the same stuff that you did that I wanted to capture to praise, which was this creek.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing to say. It just looks great.
Yeah. The way he's just really good at so the white caps in the water there, which is oh gosh, I forget the term that they use in RAM to control that. I think it's called foam.
Foam.
Yeah, you can do foam on the outsides, which he has a little bit there. He can do foam in the middle. You have big foam. You've got little foam. And then the rocks mixed in, which I also like, is like the rock color is matching the foam, which helps them blend in a lot more. So
I loved his bridge. It's kind of an old. He's got an old wooden texture on that bridge. It didn't look brand new, which I loved. I think it looked great.
There are a lot of bridges in this course. A lot of bridges.
There's a lot of bridges and a lot of the streams. Kind of there's some the water on the course is not. I don't remember teeing off over a lake over the landing area kind of thing, right? There was a couple of. Now, the one thing I will say about this course that I did really enjoy is, and I do take my last statement back. There's a couple of holes where the water is off to the right where you can absolutely drive into the water. There's a couple of par fours that are drivable. There's a 300 yard and a 290 yard par four with some. Remember, this is at elevation. These are about 4,000 feet of elevation at this one. So, I put one on the par four, lake to the right. So if you push it, you're in the water with a driver. And I hit a draw over the water, back down, and put it right on the front edge of the green on I had like a 305-yard drive. But that's a fun shot to hit, you know?
Yeah. The more
And then
shots of the. Oh yeah, I remember. This is another
yeah, and
one.
this is I think this is hole 16 if I remember correctly, and I want to say I think it's their signature hole. That is water. That creek goes right in front. You see the bridges going off around
more bridges,
there. So
more little streams.
yeah, and it's a par 5, so like going 4 and 2 with no ability to run it up, you got to carry it all the way there was too hard, so I laid up.
I think his experience at Murfield kind of prepped him to build this course.
I think so, actually. He did really well. There's a lot of canals also, and he did a great job in the V2 update. He didn't just like put creek water. He built a concrete canal. It's off like on hole 1. It goes in front of hole 1. It goes up along the left side of the course. And he built these concrete canals with concrete walls and water in the canal and the bridge going over it. It looks great.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
But I think personally what I loved about this shot was the hill with the rocks on it right there.
The rock work was pretty good. And it was funny because this is another instance where I'm reviewing this separately. I go and I do a screenshot. I go to bring it in, and Master's already got one of the same area.
Yeah,
it was
the
really
rock
well work done. Was really, really good. Especially since if this is now this I don't I'm guessing that this is a mesh here, and he just put sat on it. But the rock,
yeah, it's a mesh with a sat on it. Yeah.
If you look at the colors here on this sat, okay, they essentially match the colors of this rock more or less.
Yeah.
Which is why it looks so natural and so good.
Yep. And I love like the darker parts of the rocks look like they're shadows from like they're overhanging a little bit. It gives it some depth. Yep. So really, really well done, Pac-Man. Love the course. Had a great time playing with you. Congrats on your MPAL, my friend.
Yep. Okay. And our second MPAL this week this is an interesting one because this is by TechBud. This is White Marsh Valley Country Club in Pennsylvania. Did we ever find out how far this was from me? Did you look at that?
No, I need to look that up. Hold on. You talk. I'll look
chat.
it up.
So this was interesting because so when we were playing this afternoon, and he said, "What course you want to play?" and we said, "Okay, let's load up one of the Tech Buds," and we got this up, and we went to. Did we ever get so? Actually, this isn't tee box number 1. We never got that screenshot in the pre-show. I think this is a different shot. But honestly, when we brought up tee box number 1, I was like, this is all right. And then as we started playing, I got really kind of it grew on me a lot, the course. I thought the colors initially were too light or like kind of dried out, but then as I started playing the course, I thought the sat shader looked good. I thought the trees looked good. I thought the course was really fun to play. There was actually a decent amount of elevation involved. And we ended up having a really good time playing the course. And then when we got done, I think we didn't even talk about this being an MPAL. And we said, okay, we'll get back together later to do the show. And as I went to bocce tonight and I was thinking about it, I was like, I've really ended up really liking this course. Especially like the things like here, you can see he did a really good job on the grasses, look really realistic and natural. The clubhouse, and it was a classic example where on the 9th, you see the clubhouse from one side, and this is a shot from the 18, and 18 was a really cool club shot as well.
Yeah.
And I can say that I did not pick this course because I played well. Because I played absolutely horrible.
Yeah, this course is interesting. So real quick, it's an hour and 19 minutes from you. It's just north of Philly.
Oh, it's north of Philly, Lafayette.
Yeah, it's north of Philly. Yeah, and so just so you know, and so this course also, I agree with everything you said. when I first loaded the course, my initial reaction was, "Wow, it's different than anything Tech Bud that I've seen from Tech Bud. Like it didn't, the colors and just looked different." Okay, didn't mean it was bad. It just looked different. And then as we played through it, I just really liked it more and more. There was a lot of the holes. I don't know if, I mean, we didn't play all 18. We did a random selection of holes, but I felt it could have been the randomness of the holes we chose, but I felt like there's a lot of holes with out of bounds on it. Like it seems like
and
we
out
were
of bounds that
bordering
did
the.
not suit me very well.
Well, you know what, you became best friends with the out of bounds.
I
I think
conceded one
you
hole.
put 7 balls. Yeah, you did concede a hole.
I said I have to stop. I need to concede because I was getting extremely frustrated.
What was our score when we were done playing this course?
Well, is this one of those we might have found that bug? This is one we weren't sure.
Oh yeah, the score was not working. Yeah,
We
you know what?
said,
Maybe that's what we need to do when we play through these courses to figure out MPOW. We should put our scorecards up at the bottom at the end of it. But
yeah, I think I was up to a 12 or 13 on that whole one. I conceded.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I hit
doing
5 or 6 out of bounds.
I was doing my best to encourage you, but after the 5th out of bounds, it was the exact same shot. I was like, aim further left, damn it. And you were like, I
was shanking. I was just, everything was going off the hosel. I could have aimed like completely left and it would have went out of bounds. So,
dude, you kept your cool, because I honestly think if I shanked that many balls, I would have probably broken a couple clubs.
yeah, I just hope. Oh God, we're traveling tomorrow to play like a course I normally don't play. It's a nicer course. It's Penn National. It's probably one of the nicest public courses in Pennsylvania. If I play like that tomorrow, I might lose my shit.
Don't even think about it. Don't even think about that. The shank, you can't think about
I'm getting
shank.
up in the morning. I'm hitting balls in the sim before I go.
Okay, good.
I have to.
Good.
I have to. Yeah, I got to get my speed back.
But Tech, I thought the course was great. It was a ton of fun to play. It wasn't overly hard. And again, like,
well, you know what was
Pac-Man,
interesting, and what I also liked about this course, there were a couple holes where I was like, "Oh, wide open, let it rip."
Yeah.
And there were a couple that I felt like I was getting pushed in a little bit too.
Yep.
Which I think was also, I don't like completely wide open. I want to be challenged a little bit. And I think when the first hole kind of seemed very open, and then there were, I think things mixed up quite a bit in this course.
That was our first reaction. We were like, "Oh, swing away! First hole wide open, right?
Yeah.
Let's swing away." Then I think we got to hole 3, and it was like, "Oh, we got out of bounds on the right, we got trees on the left, we have a narrow chute to go through." Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And so this was another shot where you captured this one, and then I did the same thing. And there were 2 things here. One is obviously the creek looks really good. The rock work under the bridge. The bridge looks really good. But he did a really good job here of marking like the hazards with stakes. And there was one instance, and I couldn't remember what hole it is. I wanted to capture a screenshot of it where he put the white stakes for the inner OB.
Yes, and that was, and you did tall white stakes, because I could see from the tee on the, and I don't want to jump ahead to our feature request, but on the mini map, you could see the hazard line, but from the tee shot, I could literally see the white stakes, and so I knew it was OB.
Yep.
So that was very, very much appreciated. So, and then I think you and Pac-Man can give a master class on doing these scenes, like the bridge with the water, with the rock work, with the grasses. It just looks, the vert painting is so good. The foam looks great. It's just really well done.
Yeah, I guess weird. I did the same screenshot, came in here, and you already had it.
It was already here?
It was already there. So our feature request. So this kind of, we alluded to a couple of these during the show. So the first one is, if we could take if you create a hazard, you call it an inner OB, let's just make it white in the game.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, I don't know if it was a fluke that it's not. I don't think it is. I actually think on the mini map, specifically talking on the mini map, an inner OB is showing up as red. Now, red is a lateral hazard, not an OB, and so there's been a couple of instances where and then we saw it tonight, as a matter of fact, where it's like, okay, it's lateral up there, and that matters. It matters to know which. I mean, I will think about what I'm going to, because if Oh, if it's just lateral, then I'm fine. I'll take a driver and I'll drop up there. That's fine. But if it's OB and I got to go back to the tee box and hit again, I want to know that before I tee off. And I think having a white line as an inner OB would be a better way of doing it than having it red.
Yeah, it definitely made a big difference because I had 6 of those.
Yeah, you did. On one hole.
On one hole. The next thing was, so you and I jumped into the sim and said, all right, let's just play, it's 4 different courses. Let's, we tried to do like holes 1, 3. We always played 9 and 18 because you want to see the approach shots maybe in the clubhouse.
Yep.
But what if we just said, hey, I got 45 minutes to play. I got 5 holes. Let's do a whole randomizer. I want to play 5 holes. Just throw 5 holes at me, right?
Randomly grab 5 holes.
Yeah.
Yep.
From the same course. Now, like everyone's had these things where they want to play like 5. They want to make their own golf course out of different courses and stuff, and that's a whole other thing to deal with. But just on the same course, just say maybe in the same screen that you pick the holes. You just have a hole randomizer and 6 holes.
Number of holes and randomize button and hit go, and it just grabs a 6 random holes off that course.
Yeah.
And by the way,
should it tell you which holes before you play, or you just go play and all of a sudden they can pop up?
I think, in all fairness, I think you hit go and it just randomly check marks the box.
Okay.
And then you can uncheck mark one if you want.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would add,
because it picks too many par 3s or something, or
Yeah. Hey, I don't want that par 3, but then I can go in and say uncheck and check. And I know we're splitting hairs because it should be easy to click 6 times, but I think it would be fun. The other thing too I would add to that as well is, I'm thinking out loud here. I would also give an option to randomize the settings.
Oh, like the stimp and like.
Yeah, so I would have one where I can set all that and then randomize holes, but then have a second checkbox which is randomize holes 6 for number of holes and randomize settings.
Ooh.
So then you get to the course and you've got a breezy stimp 12. I think that would be cool.
You're pushing the limits there, Mr. Bourbon Man.
I'm pouring my 4th glass, so it's software. Anything's possible. I work for a software company. Anything's possible.
Yeah, that's ballsy. That's ballsy. Next,
that's what my customer. Yeah. That's what my customers tell me. Anything's possible. You work for a software company.
So, we got it went right in. Sorry, we didn't have the build here set up correctly. So this is our posts of the week.
Oh, God.
Yes.
My goodness.
Man, I tell you what. So this week, not only were the posts good, but I didn't put in. There's some really good comments that were replied to.
There were great comments. Oh, the comments to this post specifically were hysterical.
Yeah. So this guy, obviously, he didn't quite grasp what the relationship is between SkyTrack and GS Pro, and so he decided to tell everyone, "Hey, I sent this letter to get this shit. I'm going to let them know. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind that if I buy these, that they should work together. And the fact that I have a SkyTrack subscription and a GS Pro subscription, and this thing doesn't work correctly, is bullshit." Now, this says 5 comments. I think actually at the end, this was something I think someone put in our Discord. I went back to the post and I think there were 55 comments.
I love his insistence. I love that his go-gettedness. I'm gonna write SkyTrack and I'm just gonna let them know to get their shit in gear because they're sitting on their laurels.
Yeah.
SkyTrack's done nothing. They're just sitting around not doing anything. They didn't release SkyTrack Plus. They're not doing anything. They're sitting around, and damn it, because it doesn't work on my GS Pro properly. The best part about this whole thing is it was the bag mapping. It was a bag mapping issue. He needed to change his lob wedge.
No, that's not this one.
That's not this one?
No.
Oh, that's a different one. Oh, I thought that was this one.
No, this is different. This guy is basically saying that he is upset that he pays a SkyTrack fee and a GS Pro fee, and he can't get them to work together anymore. So he wrote to Skytrack
about
it. And here's the thing: Skytrack's going to write back, and they're going to say, GS Pro is unsupported. He's going to write to GS Pro, and GS Pro is going to say Skytrack is unsupported. Someone's got to meet in the middle. Now, obviously, GS Pro is open for this. Skytrack is not. So I guess at the end of the day, Skytrack is a little bit more to blame here but I guess this guy doesn't understand that really this is just an unsupported, this is a community-driven integration.
I mean, is Skytrack to blame for anything? Like, they don't support GS Pro. It's a community connector connecting up.
Yeah.
And as far as Skytrack, I'm not trying to take anybody's sides. I'm just thinking, Skytrack, they're like, what's GS Pro?
At the end of the day, it's their business decision. You can just choose not to support it. Really, at the end of the day, if you're upset, just don't get a Skytrack, right? I mean, that's to me.
I mean, listen, in all honesty,
beware.
One of the reasons that I ended up going Unicore with my XO was I wanted to get off the floor and go. I was never bringing it to the range. No, my ambitions of taking my GC3 to the range and doing all that stuff never happened, right?
Yeah.
And secondly is I wanted native integration.
Yes.
I wanted to know that
I wanted
GS Pro,
someone to be on the hook when it doesn't work.
Correct. And I love the way the Unicore and GS Pro work together.
Oh, it's so easy.
Seamlessly.
Fire up. I can fire up Ignite. I can fire up View. I could do.
Yep.
I never used
You
Pod.
do Pod.
But I could.
Yep. You could use Pod.
But it just works. It just works.
I fire up View. I have my optics cameras going. I fire up GS Pro. Good to go. Matter of fact, in the View software, it shows where I have a GS Pro hitting session and when I have a non-GS Pro hitting session. It's GS Pro in the.
Yep.
It's seamless and it's so good.
Yep. So yeah. So moving on, we got now.
Yep.
This is shoot.
Hold on.
I can fix this.
Hold on.
I'm just gonna.
God, we gotta hire a better person to do PowerPoints for us.
There it is. Okay.
Oh, this was it.
This is the one that.
This was it. This was it.
Now at the end of the day, so what the issue here was, this guy again is on Skytrack, and he was, this was a well-known kind of issue, but he didn't really know what the issue was, which was, if you have their Skytrack on set as a lob wedge, Skytrack goes into a different mode where it's looking for like a chip shot, because the optics in a Skytrack have to be basically changed in software to adjust for that type of shot.
Yeah.
But he didn't know that. So
no.
And so this is unfortunately his way of asking for help, which is, I'm officially declaring this a GS Pro issue. I've done these shots. It's not working. Fix this crap. This is bullshit. More or less. And it's his rant.
Who starts a post with, I officially declare? Who the hell are you to officially declare that? I mean,
so it's just
like, I don't get it. I don't like. And this was the one where all he had to do was change in GS Pro, change from his lob wedge or a chipping club to a different club.
Well, it's kind of like, I guess the equivalent of this would be, that in Unicore you have to have it specifically set to putting, and then if you're you're just off the green and you want to putt, you have to switch it to putting. I guess the equivalent would be, I officially declare this a GS Pro issue. Whenever I try to putt off the green with my Unicore, it goes flying across.
Because my GS Pro does not read my mind and know that I want to putt from off the green. For a matter of fact, I want to putt from 30 yards off the green.
Yes.
I just want to putt it. Yeah. We have a prop bet. Going back to one of our previous feature requests about prop bets, right? I got a prop bet for the most putts from 20 yards off the green.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think what his issue here is a very common issue, and I think a lot of people see it. And I kind of wanted, in Discord, I kind of said, hey, it's all about how you ask the question, right? It's how you ask for help.
Well, yeah, I agree. And listen, I think it's easy for people to get frustrated. I mean, here's my vision, okay, he probably had issues. And his first move was to go to Facebook and post it. He's probably unhappy, probably upset, posted it pretty heated.
Well, he probably pays Skytrack and GS Pro.
Yeah, and listen,
he pays
it
them
sucks
both,
when
and
things
he's
don't
looking
work.
for them.
It sucks when your shit doesn't work, right? There's nothing worse than your shit doesn't work, right? And
well, my shit doesn't work. I take Viagra.
or you go see Shanky.
Yes.
By the way, when is your next lesson with Shanky? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about. Okay.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah. That's what are you going to go to him with? How does Shanky open up his lessons with you? Is he like, Master, how have you been playing since your last lesson?
What do you
Is
have?
That how he opens up?
Oh yeah. How you doing?
Yeah.
Well, what's how you've been doing? Like how you've made progress? Have you made progress?
And you're like, so Shanky, I perfected the hosel rocket.
Well, here's the thing. It's so like I typically have 3 weeks in between my lessons. Okay. And this is how it typically goes. I have a lesson with him. We look at my swing, we do some changes. I record all of our lessons so I can watch them later on.
Yep.
And then I struggle for a few days because whatever changes he makes, I'm adjusting and learning that, but I stick with it. And then I might go out and play that weekend, and I might struggle a little bit, and then I get better.
Okay.
And like I'll somewhere in there I'll have a really good round. As a matter of fact, just on Tuesday, I played the East course.
You
course
played really
I'd never
well.
played, and I actually shot a 90 for a course. And that's a hard course. The East course is actually a hard course. But then I turn around and like I go into the sim today with you, and I can't even freaking hit the ball like at all. So it's
golf is a finicky bitch. There's no other way to describe it. It is you can go. I went out on the day my daughter had a tournament. It was an hour and 20 minutes from the house, so I wasn't coming back home. And I found a tee time in that town at another course a few miles away. So I dropped her off. She teed off at 8. I teed off at 8:20. Course I'd never played before. Walked away with a 78. Went out the next day to my home course, shot an 89.
Yeah, but
the next day.
Well, but that's even the next day for me. I think I told this in the golf story last week. I shot a 41 on the front 9 and a 58 on the back 9 on the same course.
Yeah, that's yeah. So when do you come into Colorado so we can go play some elevation course, some elevation?
Now, I'll be really curious to see what happens tomorrow when I go play this course tomorrow. Tomorrow I could shoot a low 80s or I could shoot 110. I don't know.
So I've got it all planned out. When you come to town,
all right,
we got to also get a couple other guys that want to come in too, right?
Okay.
We're gonna force them together, okay?
All right.
A B2B foursome. We'll go play like Arrowhead in the sim, and then the next day or that afternoon we'll go play in real life. And then we'll go play Common Ground in the sim, and then we'll go play in real life. And then we'll go. And
I like that.
I can't get us on Sanctuary because that there's no ability to get on that course unless you're a whole separate story. But
okay.
But I've got about 4 courses around here that we could play in the sim and then go play in real life.
Okay.
And I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. That sounds like playing to me.
Okay, cool. All right, new format. Hopefully y'all liked it. Maybe the shows will get a little shorter since we're not going to go through each and every course.
Yeah, we're at just over an hour, which is actually short for us.
It is short for us, so we'll keep. We also chit-chatted a lot, which is good.
Yeah.
Leave feedback and comments if you're okay or you like the changes, and if not, sorry. We'll take the feedback. We'll see what we can do.
Yep. And
all right,
hit them straight, guys.
Hit them straight. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.